Welcome to episode 187 of the Muck Podcast, a member of the Odd Pods Media Network. Listen in as we discuss the dark and sometimes weird true stories in American politics. I'm Tina Hanami.
And I'm Hillary Doherty.
Oh!
Do you like my new trick? How I did
love that. That was like Max Headroom vibes.
If you're old enough to know that joke, you need to go get your back checked. Get a new mattress. Get a firm pillow for your neck.
Oh my god.
Oh Lord. I was thinking that we've been doing more Friday recordings this summer than ever before. But I think it's because, I mean, I like doing Fridays because that means I don't have to get up on Saturday morning, right?
Yeah, I don't mind Fridays either, you know?
But I think during the week, it's like we're school year. Like you're working all day and I got to run around with the kids on Friday. So like, you know, to get here and do it, I think it's why it's more difficult, so much more relaxing on Saturday morning.
Yeah. But Fridays are fun.
Fridays are fun. And I'd be drinking during our night recording, but we're going to go drinking after this. So don't need to. Get to use my merch mug, the Muck Podcast.
Let me turn it.
Yeah. Go to our website and go buy something.
Yeah, did you buy something? Because I think we are the only ones that did, besides our lovely Annette.
Yeah, go buy something.
Please. What are you waiting for?
What are you waiting for?
Look at, I mean, it's cute.
Yeah. Well, I'm waiting for you to kick this news off. I know you've got a lot to say about the ban and AP psychology.
Oh my God.
Gone then. Gone. I don't even touch education. I don't do it. It's all you.
So the latest news is, and I'm just going to read the beginning for those of you out of the state of Florida who may not realize what's happening here, is that College Board is no longer going to be taught in the state of Florida, College Board AP Psychology, because there are certain chapters that deal with LGBTQ history and information.
Gender identity
and things like that. And so their statement is, we are sad to have learned today that Florida Department of Education has effectively banned AP Psychology in the state by instructing Florida superintendents that teaching foundational content on sexual orientation and gender identity is illegal under state law. So it's gone. And the thing is that, here we are the first week of August. And this is coming out second week of August.
School starts in a couple weeks.
School starts in a couple weeks. For some schools, their teachers are going back this week for planning. And teachers who now are coming back, and these are the courses that they teach, they don't have the course that they've taught. They are now being put into other courses that they have to now come up with curriculum for at the very last minute. It's completely unfair. And then a bunch of kids who have been signed up for these classes have to redo their entire schedules to try to fit in other classes. It's outrageous. It's outrageous.
So are they stopping it completely, or are they just taking out that part of that language in the course? Are they just the course is gone?
So College Board, I read a couple of things, but from what I understand is that is part of like what they will be tested on, and College Board is not changing their materials and their curriculum for the state, which they shouldn't have to.
Right.
And this is basically an attack on College Board, right? And I think we may have talked about this, that DeSantis thinks that this is a leftist institution. And so
Tell me about College Board. How long has it been around? What is the point? What is the purpose? They create these courses that are college level courses.
They've been around since
for high schools and colleges and universities.
So primarily high school.
Okay.
But they also do your SAT, like your testing.
Okay.
Right, your PSAT. They, when you take your PSAT, they'll give you have options to like fill out certain boxes, and you can get, scholarship information. You can get information from colleges, so it's kind of like your wheelhouse for preparing for college. And then the AP courses, I know my subject has been around since the 70s, like 1970, I think, if not like late 60s. So it's been around a really long time.
Right. We're talking about materials that have been
decades.
Canon.
Yeah.
Right? That they want to change. Because, by the way, let's also not forget that this all started the Don't Say Gay rhetoric, and they wanted to get it out of the curriculum for K through 3.
Right.
Kindergarten through 3rd grade.
And it's
we are now in the second session. They came back and then they started going after high schools, and now they're coming after these college level classes that are high school students can take. Correct. Right? To get them ready for school, for college, that are college credit, some of them, I believe, right? Like, so they're taking that away.
So the other thing that's happening is teachers' certifications in the state are being threatened. So the new thing now is with the names of kids.
Right. I heard this today.
So if, for example, you have a kid, Michael, and he goes, call me Mike. Okay, we're not allowed to do that anymore. We have to get both parents to sign a piece of paper that says, you can call my child Mike.
Now, who's going to do that?
Right? And who's going to do that? Some kids go by their middle name. Some kids have, like, for example, I had a cousin, Attilio, who, I have a couple cousins named Attilio, went by Leo, right?
Okay.
Like, that's he went by Leo, and that's how we called him, right? And in school, that's how they called him, because whatever, like, that's what he preferred to go by. So I have a lot of those instances where, they might have a family name, or they might go by their middle name. We all know that this is because of trans kids.
Right.
Right? But it's not like a teacher is going to be reprimanded. They are saying, or just fired from your district. They are going to revoke the teaching certificate from the teacher. And then you can't teach anywhere in the state of Florida. I'm sorry, but we have other things to do.
The people that I love and I know in my life that are not involved in politics, how many people have texted me over this and the slavery, because now it's education.
Yeah, right.
And we're talking about, you have a small kid in school right now. They'll be affected until this can change, but I got to tell you, I don't know when it's going to change.
I don't know either.
This is it. This is now your curriculum.
And that civics curriculum is middle school.
Yeah.
And on Florida Roundup today, my dear friend Karen was telling me on Florida Roundup there was a woman on there who was saying that this can be implemented, will be implemented in Florida and in Broward County at the teacher's discretion.
Well,
and so this is the thing. So for the conservative people who want Tucker Carlson and the stupid cartoons and the wacko conservative job of PragerU to teach civics, it's at their discretion. But nobody else can teach at their discretion any other works, right? And they talk about, you're indoctrinating the kids. This is what indoctrination is. They are the biggest hypocrites I've ever seen in my life.
So my son's going into 7th grade at a private school, a religious private school here. And he had summer reading. And so the book he had to read was Chasing a Killer, the assassination of Martin Luther King Jr. Okay. And I sat with him while he read the first few chapters, because then he went on vacation. He has since finished reading it. But in the book, it talks about the civil rights movement. It talks about all of the people involved. It talks about the struggles and the reasons and why and the voting and what they went through. And I can't speak for everybody at the school, but I get a MAGA vibe. There's a bit of a vibe. So those people who are electing the Republicans to take those seats and change these kinds of, education for public school kids are sending their kids to private school where they're learning Black history.
Yep.
My son can now tell you everything about that.
Because guess what? They want their kids to go to college. They want them out of state in good schools, and they don't give a shit about anybody else.
Right.
That's what it is.
Yeah. I also had a friend
who's such hypocrisy.
I have a friend whose kids go to private school. She didn't know anything about the don't say gay thing. She knew nothing. Like, they're also not paying attention to like what's happening in public education because they don't have any investment in it.
Right.
And to that I say, then they're going to come for it. It's going to affect you one way or the other. Right. Whether you own a home, you have a kid in the public school, you have a family member who's in the LGBTQ community, you know what I mean? It's affecting everybody. It will in some way, shape, or form come and affect you. And we better start paying attention.
Yeah.
It's fucking wild.
The thing is, another news that came out today, the headline on a Tampa Bay newspaper was Florida facing one of the country's worst teacher shortages this school year.
To come out this week when that happened and then that news comes out.
Who would want to stay? Honestly.
No, there's so many teachers leaving.
It is stressful enough. And then what's going to happen? We're going to now have more overcrowded classes because there's not enough teachers.
Or they're going to also then hire inexperienced, no,
Right.
you know, degree in teaching or
Right.
education, and it'll be, you know, which is the point. I mean, let's be honest. This is a slow burn. We know what the end game is.
Yeah.
The end game is there is no more public school.
Yeah.
It is PragerU and
all the
charter
different
schools.
schools.
Yeah. That their buddy set up, who also owns other charter schools that are all failing, but that's okay because we're going to get this guy because he's our buddy. And that's now our only options are these schools. That's the end game. That's the end game. I mean, it doesn't take too much to figure that the fuck out.
But the thing is, and I was talking to someone this week about this just yesterday, about what's happening in AP and where is the federal government? Where is the federal government?
Please.
The the education, those dollars come into our state. Federal dollars come into our state to fund education. Aren't they putting their boot on the neck of DeSantis and saying, you don't get money with this garbage that you're doing?
Please, let me tell you something.
I know.
By the time they file some sort of a
complaint,
case, yeah. It will be 5 years. The DeSantis will be gone. You know what I mean? Like, that's what's going to happen. But everybody needs to let their representative know how the fuck they feel about this shit. Flood their inboxes. Flood their voice messages. I know it's summer, but school is coming. If you are dissatisfied with what this education system looks like, let them know. Because believe me, these motherfuckers don't like to be called out, and they don't want attention, and they don't want someone telling them that they're doing a bad job. They hate that.
That's true.
You need to let them know that you're unhappy with what's happening with the schools, what's happening with the slavery, what's happening with homeowners insurance.
The kids aren't happy. I have a colleague of mine who told me that a former student reached out so upset hearing this news because it was one of the students' favorite classes. Kids love AP Psych. You know, like the projects are fun. They always do like the different experiments, and then they carry the flower or the egg, or there's all these little projects, and it's a fun class. That's a college level class. That's a good class for a kid to take, to have that AP credit, and just kind of like think about different ideas. It's the whole curriculum isn't about LGBTQ.
But that's the other
ridiculous.
Part. But the other part is
ridiculous.
But the other part is this. When we say it's canon, like psychology, they used to say that
soft science, but science.
That somebody that was gay was insane. They're mentally ill, right? And the way that has evolved in psychology, and the way that they view the LGBTQ community, or how the identity of it all, they don't even want you to learn that. They don't want you to understand the real history of how we got here, because then, God forbid, you would understand that you can't read a book and turn gay.
I know.
That it's just born that way, right?
It's so stupid.
It's dumb.
It's just to offer information about something. It doesn't mean that you have to change your religious beliefs about a particular... No one is saying that. And frankly, nobody has time to be indoctrinating kids.
Yeah, nobody cares about it.
They're just getting through the curriculum.
They want to go home. Are you fucking kidding me?
Oh my God.
Could you imagine? That should be an SNL skit. There's teachers in a corner like, ooh, which students are we going to get help of today?
So
that should be a real thing.
It's so dumb.
They're underpaid, they're underappreciated, and they're begging for scraps. Y'all don't give them books, you don't give them pens, you don't give them paper, you don't give them pencils. They're fucking putting GoFundMe because I can have $10 to go buy some fucking paper for my classroom. And you think that they've got a hidden agenda to turn your kids gay? They don't give a fuck. These are human beings.
Yeah.
They don't even know what's happening in their own lives, right? Like, they've got their own shit going on.
Right.
You think they want to focus on your kids?
On
the only adults I know,
on 180
and the only adults I've ever known to systematically go after abusing children have not been in schools. Do you want to talk about Trump, or do you want to talk about Florida?
Oh God.
I mean, we could go right into Florida since we're right here.
We're right here.
Okay, so here's what I have to say.
I had another thing that I saw today that I wanted to
Here's the thing. I'm rarely right about things. I'm rarely correct. So when I am, I have to bring it up. I got to bring it to somebody's attention. Because I'm still stewing. It's been 48 hours and I'm still out of my fucking mind. Last week, I brought up how I was confused that there's $1 million being invested into voter registration by the Florida Dems. And I begged and pleaded, please don't tell me that you're going to DEC meetings. If you don't know what that is, it's the local Broward County Democrats, the Miami-Dade Democrats, the Volusia County, the Orange County, the Seminole County. Those are the same people who you have looked at for the last 10 to 20 years. They're older, they're white, they're retired. They're the backbone of the party.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. These are the fucking die-hard motherfuckers that show up for you every single year, right? They are there. But they're not the group that we need to be screaming at to vote, right? I think I made that pretty clear last week. Like, please don't tell me you're going to do this. The episode comes out on Wednesday, 2 days ago. The same day I see a tweet from the Florida Democrats. This was the day they're kicking off their big statewide tour at a fucking DEC meeting in Volusia County with all older white retired people. God bless you, but this is not who the fuck we're supposed to be talking to. What are we doing? I was so mad for many different reasons. I'm just going to hit a couple. Number one, how have I been involved with this party or been watching closely for 6 years and I can predict what the fuck you're going to do? I shouldn't be able to do that. That's why I said I'd like to see a plan. Why is it a secret? Put it on your website what this tour is. Put it on your website what this money is going towards, what it's funding, programs, whatever, projects. Let me know. It shouldn't be a secret because I've got news for you. Nobody's looking at your plan. Republicans already have their own plan. They're winning.
Yeah,
we should be copying their plan.
Yeah.
What are the Republicans doing?
They don't care about our plan.
Because that's what we should be doing. It shouldn't be a secret to let people know what your plan is. What is the plan? And I can't be the one. I haven't been here that long. How come I know? And do you know why I know? Because you hire the same people who've run campaigns over and over and over again and work for the party over and over and over again, who lose over and over and over again. What are you doing with $1 million? Which, by the way, we know we've worked on small campaigns. We've volunteered for small campaigns.
It's a lot of money.
We know what that money can do. What are you doing? And since then, I've seen more pictures at other counties since the last 3 days, at other counties that are the same group of people that were sitting there the day before, They're at 9 o'clock in the morning. They're at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Who the fuck can go to that? Not working parents, not poor, black, brown, white people. What are you doing? Not youth. They're in school.
Youth.
They're in the summertime.
We talked about this the other day. Like, do some kind of college-wide tour of getting Democratic clubs on campuses all across the state and energizing the youth.
That money should go to that.
Talk about how UF is going to has a crazy president. Talk about what happened at New College. Do you want this to happen at your college? What's happening at FAU?
I mean, it's summertime. I guess they're not there right now. I guess. But you could also save it for the fall. The election's not for another fucking year.
Yeah.
Like, please make that part of your plan.
Well, we're heading into fall. It's August. Kids are going to be going to school in the next 2 weeks.
I just don't understand what you're doing. It's infuriating. And also, I know we know a lot of people who have been involved with the party for 10, 20 plus years. I need you all to do something about this because I think I've been through 3 election cycles now paying attention to what's happening, like the 2018, 2020, 2022.
Yeah.
And I've watched this disarray and the party like just breaking down and us losing tremendously in 22. It was heartbreaking. How do you watch that for 10 to 20 years and then still fucking pat on the back and give high fives to the same people who are ruining that? They're not fighting for us. This is not a plan to win. And I love to talk about all of the issues that are affecting Floridians, especially the education, especially homeowners insurance, auto insurance is going through the roof. I love to discuss those things, but we can't talk about those unless we're winning. Nothing matters except winning. That's all that matters. And if you're taking $1 million fucking dollars and you're going to DEC meetings and telling the same people the same fucking bullshit, with no plan to get voters registered. We won't even take it on. You got $1 million? You could pay $1 million in fines and register 100,000 people. Like, what the fuck are we doing?
Do the door hangers like we showed on here with a QR code and put it on the person. Just scan it. You're not collecting. Because the worry is you're going to collect it and the information's going to be wrong and there will be those fines. But like we showed, the Republican Party down here has a nice little door hanger with a QR code that you just scan and they can do the vote by mail and register all on that QR code. And they're not taking any paper and you're not risking any fines. Right?
Yeah.
And
but we can't sit here and say Republicans are the bad guys. We can't do it. When they have power, that's what they do. They do what they want to do. We can't even talk shit until we're winning. We have to win. Does anybody else want to fucking win? Does anybody else want to win? I'm sorry. I'm fucking sick of it. And it's not... I wish it was just like, oh, we beat the bad guy. Like, we got Chip LaMarca out or something like that. I wish that's all that it really was for me. But I live here. She lives here. We're affected by the bad policies Republicans have carried down for 40 fucking years. I'm fucking sick of losing. Are you sick of losing? Can't you come up with an original idea, an original fucking plan? Fuck, man. I'm 6 years and I said, I'm done. I can't sit here and keep my mouth shut and watch this fucking bullshit around me. I can't do it. Why isn't anybody else sick of this shit? I'm fucking furious. I've never run one statewide campaign. I've never worked for the Florida Democratic Party. But I know I've had the good sense in the last 6 years to know that if I want to reach people who haven't been voting, I don't go to a DEC meeting. I don't go to a local party meeting. I don't go to a club or caucus. I'm sick of going to events and seeing the same motherfuckers all the time. And God bless, like I said, they're the backbone. These are the people who show up and do the work. They need help. How are you going to do that? Whew, I'm fucking pissed. I'm fucking mad.
You're right.
Don't we know better than this? Don't we know better? No?
I don't know.
God damn it. $1 million, it fucking and I knew it. You know what? That's the worst part. When I saw this tweet that we're investing this money, I was so fucking stoked, and people were like retweeting it, and they were so excited. Yes, we're gonna do all this stuff. But in the little hairs on the back of my neck stood up, because I know the one thing you can count on with the Florida Democratic Party is there's never a motherfucking plan. And by the way, they'll also, if there is one, they won't tell you what it is. And I'm not special. You should tell everybody what the plan is. You should know. Let these motherfuckers know we're coming for them. Let them know the plan. Why is it a secret? What seats are we going to flip?
Right.
How are we getting the youth voting? How are we getting black and brown people to vote, to come out and vote and know that it's important? How do we get Miami-Dade back?
How do we save Broward?
How do we save Broward? By the way, West Palm's turning red.
Oh, yeah.
What the fuck are we doing? This is all happening right fucking now. Every second fucking counts. Every second counts here.
And you know me with the devil's advocate. I'm gonna when the tour comes, I'm gonna go because I want to hear. Maybe there is.
I looked at the list. I don't even see Broward on there.
Oh God, are you serious?
But you can look at it. Maybe it's on the back end. I don't know. Maybe they're coming in the fall.
Well, if they make their way down here, I would love to go and hear a step by step.
I'm hoping that's what's happening.
Step 2, step 3, step 4.
Here's the other thing. Not everybody can go to this, right? So let us put it out. I just don't understand what the secret is. Because I know with the little hairs, I know there isn't one. If your plan is to go statewide in the summer before an election, why this should be March. This should be right before the voter registration's about to end. Like, you have to renew your voter registration before the primary or whatever. Like, that's when you should plan this. You're going out in the hottest time of the year, in the middle of the day, as if people don't have anything else to do. How are you reaching people? The old retired people vote, but the people who work 2 or 3 jobs, they can't get there. How are we reaching them?
Right.
How are we reaching the kids? I wouldn't care, except my whole fucking life depends on it, dude. Yeah. My money depends on it. If I can keep my house, it depends on it. Whether my daughter can take classes in school, it depends on it. Let's get our fucking heads out of our asses and throw the playbook away that you've been looking at for 30 years. It doesn't work. It doesn't fucking work, man. DeSantis won by 20 points. Anything associated with Charlie Crist doesn't work. This is what he would do. Charlie, it sucks. He's an old grasshopper.
I brought up Charlie Crist today. I was talking to my husband about this, and why?
Can you believe
why
it?
Did we put Charlie Crist?
Dude, I think about this all the time. I thought about how it was when it was rumored, and we were making the podcast, and I said, "Don't do this. Yeah. This can't be a real thing."
And then he wins the primary.
Yeah. Well, because every old fucking... Again, these old people like a Steve Geller over there on the county commission. Oh, this is my guy. Like, as soon as those rumors came out, he's like, this is who's going to support. And he gathered all the people up he could hold on to stand behind Charlie Crist at a press conference. Fuck that. These old-timey motherfuckers are dooming us for the rest of our lives. Yeah. The reason why is a good reason why we didn't have a better candidate is because of people like Steve Geller who thinks he knows what's best for the state. You don't know shit, bro.
Right. And the thing is, I don't know, in the room where it happens, I don't know.
Oh, God.
I'm not there.
To imagine.
I'm not in the
room
Florida,
where anything happens. In Florida where it happens.
But I would hope that there would be conversations of, okay, this is how much that Ron DeSantis won by. Which wasn't much with Gillum. It wasn't much.
Yeah, that was the worst part.
It wasn't much.
Gillum was I'm going to say that he was a cut hair away from beating DeSantis. That's a horrible thing. I used to hear somebody say that all the time. It made me laugh. That's how thin the margin. It was like 0.002%. He beat Gillum.
What a disappointment. That was such.
But also young. He was young, black, charismatic, progressive, super progressive.
I mean, I loved Mama Gaga for Gillum. We love this guy.
So then the person who almost wins and is 0.002% away from beating DeSantis, we're 4 years later gonna put out the absolute opposite of that and put an old white guy who has a lot of fucking things going on that he don't want to talk about, but everybody fucking knows. He's got a lot of, so he's inauthentic. He's not a fucking real person. He's not real. And you can see it in his eyes. You can hear it when he speaks. He doesn't speak from here. He's got too much blocking him from being an authentic person. And when you're running as a Democrat, it's a death sentence. He couldn't get across the line. DeSantis wiped him up.
He did. And this is where, they had a couple of years to look at, can we start polling people? What are you looking for in a Democratic candidate? What, you know what I mean? Like, getting that kind of data. I don't know how you
remember the names that were out there for that? Pizzo, Escamani.
Yes.
I mean, there were people that were going to run.
Those are people that you want to run.
Both of them.
I mean, my God. Pizzo would have won hands down. I think Anna Escamani would have won too.
Forget about it.
That's the people we have to tap into. The people who can stand up to DeSantis, who aren't afraid, who are young, energetic. Like, that's what this party needs.
And in the very least.
And having these conversations and saying, forget all of the bullshit.
Yes.
And who can win?
Yeah.
And that's it.
And
do we really think this person can win? And if the answer is no, sorry, Charlie.
For real.
Yeah. Come on.
I mean... also, at the very least, be able to sell the Democratic Party as a viable, real thing, because they could get the message across in a way that would make sense. Right. It would be relentless. I mean, they would be poking the bear. It's what we needed.
And I feel like do some polling of people. What do you want in your what are the issues that are most important to you? Property insurance, right? Property taxes. The education, all of those things. What are the top 4 issues? Who are the candidates that you can go, well, here's what Anna Escamani has done to fight against property insurance. You know what I mean? Like, and look at that data and go, who is the person who has tried to fight for bills and do this and do that and put bills forward or get on the floor and fight against these ridiculous bills and put that together. And then you say, here, this is what people are looking for. Yeah. Here is the candidate that checks off those boxes so that when you go to people, go, hey, I know that the great concern is property insurance. Here's a candidate who's done this on the floor, who's done this and put this bill forward, and it keeps dying on the floor in Tallahassee, but she's out there fighting for you. She's going to run for governor. That's the kind of thing I want to see. Those kind of specific things. Not just like Joe Schmo because he ran before. But I don't know about this. That's not my arena of politics.
Here's the thing.
I don't know how that shit works.
I know this. Whatever y'all been doing, the Steve Gellers of the world, who think that they can pull the fucking puppet strings, I don't give a fuck. Who thinks he can do this, which is what he did. You don't know what you're doing. Look at the results. If this was a job, you would have been fired, right? We keep hiring people and we keep allowing people to be in charge and to push their way through with their loud voices who don't know what's best and don't have a finger on the pulse of shit.
But you know what they have the finger on the pulse of? How is it going to benefit them?
Right, my buddy.
That's what it comes down to.
My buddy from Florida State. Right? I will never forget the article in the Sun-Sentinel when I shared it when it was rumored, and he said he was supporting him. He's like, oh, Chris was a Republican, the student Republican club, and I was in the Democrat club, but we were friends, and that was a whole article in the Sun-Sentinel. I will never forget it. I will never forget it. First of all, because I was like, who the fuck is Steve Geller? And second of all, because it's time to let these motherfuckers go. It's time. I know they're your friends. I know they're great people. I know that they're good. We need new people. There are plenty of people who can hold these positions and would not shove a Charlie Chris goose egg down our fucking throats. And here's the part, the fucking end of this. I am proud to be a Democrat. This is my fucking party too. It's my party. It's who we are. And I hate that I'm going to say it because it's cringeworthy and awful. This is part of my identity, is to be a Democrat. I'm embarrassed by how we can't get it together. It's embarrassing because we fight for the good things. I still believe that.
Right.
I can't let go of my hope and my faith in this party because I know we are the fucking last stop before it really going over the hill here. So why don't we take that seriously? Why don't we actually do something good so we can win and we can change and turn this fucking state back blue where it's supposed to be? Where the majority of Floridians are progressive. We know this. Tap into these motherfuckers. They're everywhere. But they're not at DEC meetings. Fuck this. Next.
Ooh.
What else? So fucking mad.
Okay, so I saw this right before I came over here today, and it said that Republican 2024 presidential candidate Ron DeSantis is hit with a major scandal.
Oh, what is it?
Did you see this? As one of Florida's top newspapers reveals that a whopping $9 million that his wife Casey DeSantis raised for Hurricane Ian relief hasn't been spent.
She total raised $63 million.
Where's the money?
Yeah.
Where's the money? The watchdog just sounded the alarm, declaring that those funds can end up benefiting private individuals.
Yeah.
The public needs to know who those private individuals.
Yeah.
People who donate in response to a natural disaster want to ease the suffering of the people affected. That's why they donate.
Yeah.
So if you still have people who are unhoused, buried in debt, etc.,
which there are,
where's the money?
Yeah. You could go to Fort Myers right now and see people sleeping in fucking tents where their houses used to be. Right now. That hurricane came in October.
Yep.
And this bitch is sitting on $9 million? Fucking asshole. Mm-hmm. Here's something else. Did you also see that it came out where he said that he was thinking about leasing an apartment in South Carolina so he doesn't have to keep coming back to Florida? Because he's on the campaign trail. He's going to lease an apartment in South Carolina.
You don't even want to live in Florida?
Yeah, get the fuck out! Get the fuck out! Get out! You motherfucker! I hope a hurricane hits wherever the fuck you're living in South Carolina. You piece of shit! He's gonna sublease a place.
You gotta be kidding me.
And by the way, I don't know if you noticed today.
Did you hear that comment he made about slitting throats?
Yes, but also did you also see that like they had a whole rebranding of his campaign?
Oh, God,
I looked at this background thing of his thing today. The colors are changed. The text, the font is different. Yeah. Like everything is different than what it was.
No.
You can't fucking put lipstick on a pig. No. It's the worst campaign in history. Thank fucking Christ. God. And he's going down. But the way they're scrambling, it brings me joy.
This guy is so out of control.
Oh my God.
He's so desperate.
Yeah.
Out of control.
Yeah.
He's trash.
Yeah.
And that's it.
P.S. So let's talk about Trump real quick, but then we
and then I have one more thing that made me laugh.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, Hillary.
So Trump this week was charged.
Oh, God. 45 for 45, bitch!
Can you fucking believe this? So he's finally charged with being involved with the January 6th insurrection. Which, by the way, I still, when I watch footage, I can't believe it. I can't believe what the fuck was happening.
I can't believe that people don't believe that this happened.
But also, did you, Rachel Maddow had a clip out because she read the whole, she's like, which I'm going to do, the 45 pages.
45
anyway,
indictments for
she said the things that should keep you up at night that's in here is how they were all these conversations, all the things that were in there.
There's violence.
They were counting on the violence.
Yes.
They were looking for the violence.
Like
they wanted
killing
the violence to help their cause. Those are police. Police, bitch.
Everyone afraid.
Yeah. So he was indicted by a federal grand jury in Washington, D.C. about the 2020 election probe. Trump is charged with conspiracy to defraud the United States, conspiracy to obstruct an official proceeding, obstruction of an attempt to obstruct an official proceeding, which is the election, and conspiracy against rights. This is fucking, I still cannot believe, and he's the front runner for the Republicans. Yep. And this boosts him, like we talked about last week. His popularity went up after this.
Yes, it did. And you have the yahoos of the world, Marjorie Taylor Greene, saying, I'll vote for him even if he's in jail.
Yeah.
And then I was wondering,
they mentioned Eugene Debs, by the way, in a story that Tina covered, this guy who ran from prison. They mentioned him.
And I'm wondering, what the hell happens if this man's in jail and he wins the election? Does he commit his own sentence? Like, what happens? And the founding fathers, there's nothing, their brains could not fathom that this is where the country would end up. So there isn't any precedent. There's no law for this.
Well, and also, I mean, they were able to charge him. So, like, with these, I don't know. Between this and the other things,
if this man gets elected in a jail cell and our president's in an orange freaking jumpsuit with his orange skin, what does that mean? Is he going to go, I get to get out of jail, I'm the president?
But also, this is like, let me say something else too. This is the kind of situation where you have people around you who are like, sir, please, you need to step out of this race because we can't have the president. It's not good for the country for you to be in jail. He can't do that. He'll never do that.
You know, I thought he was pulling a Junior Soprano.
What do you mean? Oh, he's saying he was crazy.
Yeah, because when he was in court, they're like, "What's your name?" And he's like, "Donald Trump, John, Donald." And then they're like, they asked him something else, and he couldn't, give the proper answer.
No, dude.
And I'm like, this guy is going fucking Junior Soprano here.
That would be so fucking funny. I can't believe it. As somebody who is very geeked out about politics and very geeked out about history.
We got
this is wild times.
Mitch,
this is wild.
Feinstein, Biden, Trump. Get these people out!
I sent you that clip about Feinstein today. And you were like, "What the fuck? Isn't that wild?"
That's what I wanted to mention. That did you see also that
her daughter?
Her daughter has power of attorney.
Over her finances.
She cannot make decisions over her finances and she has a power of attorney for her daughter. Fine. I mean, of course, like, your parents get older, people in your family get older, they need someone to...
But usually they're at home crocheting.
Yeah.
They're not a senator for one of the largest states in the country.
And there's somebody in the ear going, just say it. It's insane. It is insane.
It's embarrassing. It's fucking
I don't
embarrassing.
understand how she is allowed to even check the box and that vote is allowed to go through when there's someone, who knows, there could be someone giving her the wrong advice and she's just pushing buttons. She's like the little guy on Breaking Bad with the bell. Is that what we're going to have now? Yes.
That guy just died, I think.
Yeah, he did. He just died tonight. I'm watching that with my kid. It's so good, that show.
It's so
Jesus.
So good.
That was all I had.
The last thing, of course, that I wanted to say is rest in peace, Pee Wee Herman.
Oh my God.
Paul Reubens.
At Pee Wee's Playhouse.
Oh my God. Paul Reubens is one of the funniest motherfuckers ever.
You know that his bike is in a museum in Pittsburgh?
Really?
That bike, yeah, the red,
Yeah,
from the Pee Wee's Big Adventure.
Yeah. Oh my God. I had tickets. I was going to take my kids to see him right before the pandemic started. I had tickets to see him in Coral Springs. He was doing the 35th, I think it was 35th anniversary of the Pee Wee's Big Adventure. And you watch the movie with everybody and he comes out, he does a Q&A. I was so fucking stoked. And it was like the end of March 2020.
Amazing.
And it got canceled because of the pandemic. And I was so bummed. And then I saw this and I was like, God damn it.
It's a shame.
It is a shame. And he didn't, I guess, he wasn't public that he was sick. And so when he passed away, they put this statement out where he was like, I'm so sorry I didn't share this with you. I just wanted you to have good memories of me. And I was just like, oh my God. He's such a fucking funny guy.
I mean,
man.
that was like our childhood.
Oh my
King
gosh,
Herman,
forget it.
That chair and like.
Oh my god, Cherry. I loved every second of it. My sister and brother and I fucking loved it. Like, it was a Saturday morning thing. And that movie with the breakfast machine and the I Know You Are, But What Am I, and the giving the gum to the guy where the black's coming out of his mouth, or the Alamo, or like whatever.
It's good. It's so good. I gotta watch it. I watched it with my kids a long time ago, and it's been a long time.
It is
so
I think
we need to revisit
funny.
it.
So I know, it's really sad.
It's a shame. It's just like one after the next over here.
He's younger than my parents.
Yeah.
Fucking A, dude.
I know. These fucking cancer.
God damn it. Fuck cancer.
20, I know. Fucking cancer. It's 2023. Can we do something?
Please. What are we waiting for?
I mean,
motherfuckers.
God damn it.
I mean, there is a conspiracy that the medical community's in on it. They don't want to cure it because they make so much money on it.
They do make a lot of money. Well, fine. But can you make it last 50 years then? And make more money? I don't know. I don't care.
Don't worry. Another disease will pop up. Look at COVID.
Oh,
there's going to be more ways to make money. It's the end of days.
And meanwheile, he wants to go to South Carolina, and people are getting leprosy in the damn state.
Why do you think he's going to South Carolina? Why do you think he's going?
The conservatives the religious conservatives should be happy. It's like right out of the Bible.
You motherfuckers. I just want an episode called You Motherfuckers.
Oh my God.
And it's a general statement. It's a general statement.
I just can't.
Are you ready? You love when I say cut that out?
Yes.
Cut that out of the show? You'll never know what I said. You'll never know. Okay. Are you ready?
Yes.
Short and sweet, baby.
Oh, yay.
And I don't know, I just realized I don't know if it's political. It's more American history than it's politics.
Politics is history. History is politics. If you don't like it...
Yeah. Get the fuck out. Who asked you, bitch? Who asked you?
And on your way out, buy a couple of mugs.
Wait, Tina, do a mean face like this.
Well, I can't. I'm
Tina, too nice.
It's too Friday night. It's too Friday night for
What, bitch? What?
I'm going what?
And then they come knock at the door and I'm like, hide! Tina, hide! We can't open the door. They're here. Okay.
Oh my God.
Today, we're going to talk about the New England vampire panic.
What is this? Yes! Oh, I love a spooky.
You asked for a Halloween episode, right?
Oh!
I know, nobody asked for that, but that's what we're going to do. This is a story that I half did and was sitting in my Google Drive somewhere, and I was like, I don't want to look something up. What do I have that's half done? And this is what it was. And
perfect.
So here we go.
Listen,
the beginning of August, we're going to talk about
sprinkle
vampires.
in history stories that are interesting. Everything's political.
Yes, that's right.
The end.
She's so defensive about this, but I appreciate your support.
I'm so mad at this audience.
We're basically
love you.
We're yelling at the GoPro.
Yeah.
This poor GoPro goes through so much fucking abuse. I'm sorry, GoPro, but let me look good. That's my profile. Okay. The New England vampire panic was the reaction to an outbreak of tuberculosis in the 19th century throughout Rhode Island, Eastern Connecticut, Southern Massachusetts, Vermont, and other areas of the New England states. Okay. So tuberculosis was known as consumption at the time, as it appeared to consume an infected person's body. It is now known to be a bacterial disease, but the cause was unknown until the late 19th century.
Wow. In
1786, when health officials first began recording mortality rates connected to the deadly infection, Massachusetts alone recorded 300 consumption deaths for every 100,000 residents.
Dang.
Between that,
every of course I gotta be a nerd here with the literature, but every book written in the early 1800s. I have a quote from an author for you. And they cough into their kerchief and it's the blood. It's like, oh fuck it,
I'm dead. I'm about to die.
They're gone.
Let me write one more song.
Yeah.
It reminds me of
oh my God.
We watched Jaws. I watched Jaws last weekend. And when Quince gets it and he gets bitten in half and the blood comes spurting out of his mouth, I was like, oh no. That's what I think tuberculosis is, blood, Exorcist level blood spraying out of your mouth.
Oh, I feel like you're going to give me a quote by like Percy Shelley or something.
No.
Okay.
Between that, I don't know who that is. That's not who it is. That's not the quote.
Okay.
Between that year and 1800, tuberculosis killed 2% of New England's population.
Ooh.
Symptoms included wasting, which apparently
Like-
is
like,
shitting, I think.
oh, I thought it was just like shriveling up.
Oh.
Maybe. Who knows? We'll look it up.
It sounds like a nice diet, though. How do we shrivel up? Oh, God. I hate my weight.
Unwanted weight loss of more than 10% of a
All
person's
right.
body
It's
weight.
losing weight.
Well, with either diarrhea or weakness or fever. So boom, right there together.
X-lax diet. 90s?
That's so.
It was a thing, right?
Yeah.
Oh, these poor girls.
Not good.
Not good.
Not good.
I was going to make a joke, but I
Jesus.
can't joke
Yeah,
about
no.
anorexia. Right?
Yeah.
It's not, okay.
Yeah.
Wasting, not funny. Night sweats and fatigue, and a persistent cough that sometimes produced white phlegm or foamy blood.
Ooh.
Occasionally,
Ooh.
the cough turned into hemorrhaging. Those who caught it could not know if they would eventually recover, painfully waste away over the course of years, or die in a matter of months, getting from the galloping form of the disease. So it like starts happening really quickly. If they did recover, there was always the fear that the illness would return. In many cases, living in the same home was enough for the disease to spread throughout an entire family.
Oh, jeez.
It was estimated that anywhere between from 70 to 90% of the U.S. population had latent or active tuberculosis infections.
Wow.
Yeah. The infection spreads easily among a family. Thus, when one family member died of consumption, other family members were often infected and gradually lost their health because they're like.
And back then
Right?
they didn't. I don't know
Where-
what
I
they
just
knew
had a
about
mask.
like droplets and
Yeah,
you know
no,
what I mean?
there was
Like,
no, this all comes out like, in the middle of consumption after thousands of people died. They're like, maybe we shouldn't be spitting in each other's faces. Maybe I shouldn't let the blood spatter in my face when
Oh
I'm
my
taking care of
gosh.
somebody. Okay, so people aren't that bright. And they start to think that it's not the disease that's coming and killing every family member. Something else is coming to kill every family member. And that's how this idea of a vampire
yeah,
is
I
the
mean,
one who's doing it.
I kind of get that, right? Like if you're in some small community and, you know, and you don't understand the science of it and you
Right.
don't understand how disease spreads and you don't get that and there's blood involved and there's all this, like you want to have a cause.
Right.
Because you can't just go, oh, well, this is just the way of the world. Like there's got to be some evil force or some shit.
Are you not describing COVID conspiracy
Right.
people right now?
Right.
Like that's what I thought when I was reading this. I was like, I'm surprised I haven't heard this in the last 3 years.
Right.
That like COVID, like Chinese are the vampires, right? Like this is the Chinese disease or whatever that fucking
It's some other,
stupid
it's
fuck
some
used to say.
thing that's far away
Yeah.
that you can't.
We have to
touch,
blame
you don't-
somebody
Yeah.
because it can't just be this. Like we
That
don't
it's just a
understand disease.
Yeah. We should have. It's 2020 when it happened, so you would hope that people understood disease.
Girl.
But, you know, thanks, Internet.
Thank you. Some of the population started to believe that this was due to the deceased tuberculosis sufferer or the vampire draining the life from other family members. So once one person died, they're like, oh, and then the other people started dying. They thought that person did it after they died,
God. Oh, so they thought it was like,
coming back.
yeah.
So the belief that consumption was spread in this way was widely held in New England and in Europe. So this old world way of thinking, like the superstition, it carried on in the New England area because a lot of folks, they were from Europe. So they hadn't let go of their witches and like shit. Yeah, folklore. So in an attempt to protect the survivors and ward off the effects of consumption, bodies of those who had died of the disease were exhumed and examined. The corpse was deemed to be feeding on the living if it was determined to be unusually fresh, especially if the heart or other organs contained liquid blood. So they'd pull these bodies out. Like if somebody else in the family died, they'd pull out the original person who died and start looking at their stuff. Now, some people had been buried in the winter, and so their bodies were kind of like still fresh. And they're like, that's a vampire, right?
God.
The most benign. So after the culprit was identified, there were a number of proposed ways to stop the attacks. So once they come in and like, oh, it's fresh, that's the guy. The most benign they would just simply turn the body over in its grave, so he wouldn't be able to get out, or she wouldn't be able to come out, right?
So what? Oh, so vampires can't flip over?
No. And that's a good wife, by the way. That's a good wife. The husband's like, we gotta dig this motherfucker up, and the wife's like, all right, but honey, just turn it over.
Yeah.
Everything's gonna be all right, right? And then there's the crazy ones who are like, we need to do this. So in other cases, families would burn the fresh organs and rebury the body. Occasionally, the body would also be decapitated. Affected family members would inhale the smoke from the burning. So the people who now have consumption and are sick are breathing in the smoke from the burned organs.
Oh, God, Jesus.
Or they would consume the ashes in a further attempt to cure the consumption.
Oh, like they make a tea?
They eat the of the burned hearts and liver or whatever the fuck.
Have a little spot of tea.
Hello, and a side of a heart. It's all right for you. Just drink up, little baby. We try and get rid of this consumption from the vampires. It's not crazy. What are you talking about?
God.
It's the real. All right. Here's some examples of some where families did this. So in Exeter, Rhode Island, several members of George and Mary Brown's family suffered a consequence of tuberculosis infections in the final 2 decades of the 19th century. The mother, Mary Eliza, was the first to die of the disease, followed in 1884 by their eldest daughter, Mary Olive. In 1891, daughter Mercy and son Edwin also contracted the disease. So 84 to 91, what is that? That's 7 years later. And they think that someone's coming out of their grave to infect them 7 years later.
I mean, it's probably just going through the community.
Of course. So friends and neighbors of the family believe that one of the dead family members was a vampire and had caused Edwin's illness. This was in accordance with threads of contemporary folklore, like I mentioned, and where multiple people would die, all of a sudden it's like this family's been cursed, basically, right? And because there was no understanding of the disease and how it spread, it was open to this kind of superstition.
Oh my God.
So George Brown was persuaded to give permission to exhume several bodies of his family members. Villagers, the local doctor, and a newspaper reporter exhumed the bodies on March 17th, 1892, which is St. Patrick's Day, which I gotta say is a hell of a fucking party.
Wow.
Like, come on.
This sounds crazy.
Let's have fun and dig up these bodies.
I mean, have a pint.
Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Go have a pint instead. What are you doing?
This is not how we celebrate.
Maybe a pint of blood.
It's horrible. The bodies of both Mary Eliza and Mary Olive exhibited the expected level of decomposition, so they were thought not to be the cause. However, the corpse of daughter Mercy exhibited almost no decomposition and still had blood in her heart.
But when did she die? Wintertime?
This was taken as a sign that the young woman was undead and the agent of young Edwin's condition. Her lack of decomposition, am I saying that right?
Decomposition.
Was more likely due to her body being stored in freezer-like conditions in an above-ground crypt during the 2 months following her death.
Oh my God. I mean, there's no like town doctor that.
The doctor was there. This fucking idiot.
I know that could maybe think this through.
Dr. Bombay. Hey, you know my doctor, Dr. Vinnie Boombatz. I wanted my whole life to be able to quote Rodney Dangerfield. You know my doctor, Dr. Vinnie Boombatz. So fucking good.
Boombatz, hey.
Hey, you know my doctor, Dr. Vinnie Boombatz. All right. Anyway. Okay. As superstition dictated, Mercy's heart and liver were burned and the ashes were mixed with water to create a tonic and was given to the sick Edwin to drink as an effort to resolve his illness and stop the influence of the undead. The young man died 2 months later.
Oh, no.
I don't mean to laugh. I'm sorry. I'm just like, maybe this isn't working. Like, can we all also, like, don't follow the Florida Debs. Change course. What remained of Mercy's body was buried in the cemetery of the Baptist Church in Exeter after being desecrated. Right, because they exhumed her. In the end, the father, George Brown, was one of very few never to contract tuberculosis, living until 1922, just long enough to see bacteriologists Albert Calmet and Camille Guerin discover the BCG vaccine, which was widely used to treat and cure tuberculosis.
Oh, thank goodness.
Here's another one.
These two, doctors must have been like, what are you guys doing?
Oh my God. Most people were doing that. Most people were like, what's happening in New England?
Wow.
Yeah, it was really just kind of in that area where this was happening. Frederick Ransom of South Woodstock, Vermont, died of tuberculosis on February 14th, 1817 at the age of 20. His father was worried that Ransom would attack his family, so he had him exhumed and his heart was burned on a blacksmith's forge. Ransom was a Dartmouth College student from a well-to-do family, so it was unusual that he should fall victim to the vampire panic, which was most common among less educated communities.
Well, but It's like the satanic panic that happened in the 1980s. Like, people just like start thinking stuff.
Yeah.
And then, God.
But also your kid just died. Wouldn't you be out beside yourself?
Yeah, and you want to have a reason.
Yeah.
Right?
So this is a kind of famous one. It's the Jewett City vampires. So the Jewett City vampires were thought to be...
Like it's just like a group?
Yeah. Were thought to be the cause of an incident surrounding the Ray family, a large farming family of Griswold, Connecticut in the 1840s and 1850s, who upon the death of multiple family members concluded they were plagued by vampires. And in 1854 disinterred the dead relatives and burned their bodies to protect themselves from the undead. Sometime in the mid-19th century, one member of the Ray family had contracted tuberculosis, and the first fatality came with the death of a 24-year-old Lemuel Ray in 1845. Shortly after his death, his father died in 1851. 2 years later, 26-year-old Elijah Ray, Lemuel's brother, died in 1853. 1 year after that, Henry Ray died in 1854.
God.
And Henry B. Ray's eldest son and Lemuel and Alicia's brother died from the disease.
Oh, this is terrible. The whole family.
The whole family. The body was, okay. So they exhumed the body of the person they thought it was going to be. I think it was this...
Oh, so they thought it was like one
of the family members. So they exhumed his grave. I think it was Lemuel. And when they exhumed his body and they looked at it and I have a picture of it in our notes, but they had rearranged his bones. So the front of it, like if you look at the casket, the top of it, like where your head would be, he had his skull, but then it had skull and crossbones, right? Like they had two of his bones crossed like this, and then they laid out the rest of them like opposite, so his body looked like it was perfectly laid out, but his feet were almost touching his head, if that makes sense. And then when you look at the bones that were his lungs, you can see these like, it's almost like a engraving on the lungs or the rib bones where your lungs would be, because it showed the tuberculosis and how like that was what killed him, right? And they pull these bodies up to look and see all of the, that it was actually tuberculosis, and his family was like, they'd lost it, basically. You know what I mean?
But what did they burn him? Did they?
Yeah, they burned. Yeah, they did that.
Burned him anyway.
Yes. But I mean, it's the way that they laid those bones out, which I guess was also very common too.
Oh, so they were like, we got to put it in a certain pattern.
So that the body can't get back together and can't come out of the grave.
Oh my God.
Like if you cut their head off.
Right.
But these are their family members. Could you imagine doing that, rearranging your parents' bones or your sister or brother's bones?
Jesus.
So Henry David Thoreau wrote in his journal on September 26, 1859, quote, "The savage in man is never quite eradicated. I have just read of a family in Vermont who, several of its members having died of consumption, just burned the lungs and heart and liver of the last deceased in order to prevent any more from having it," end quote. When rural Rhode Island...
He's like, what's going on over there?
That's what I mean. Like, there's people who are like, why is this happening out here? So when rural Rhode Islanders moved west into Connecticut, locals perceived them as uneducated and vicious, which was partially due to the Rhode Islanders' beliefs in vampirism.
Oh my God. They're probably coming around and they're like, what are you talking about?
I'd imagine it's like I'm rewatching Big Love. And when you see anybody from the compound?
Yeah.
Like, that's what I mean. Like, they're coming in their prairie dresses and they're like, vampires. And you're like, oh, God.
So good.
Oh, that shows. It's good.
Brilliant.
It's good. It's good, but here's what I'll talk about it after. I'll talk about what's happening. Okay. Newspapers, also skeptical, called belief in vampirism an old superstition and a curious idea. When the press dismissed this practice
That's a nice way of putting it.
Yeah, bozos. While the press dismissed this practice as a superstition, the burning of organs was widely accepted as a folk medicine in other communities. In Woodstock, where local belief was still present, town records report hundreds of onlookers attending the burning of Frederick Ransom's heart. So people would come out and watch all of this.
Oh no, I don't think they're breathing that in.
Oh, it's disgusting.
That's so
what does that
gross.
smell like?
I don't know.
So today we understand that tuberculosis is spread through the air by breathing in bacteria coughed up by people with active infections in their lungs or throats. There are vaccines, though very rarely used in the U.S., and treatments for those who contract active tuberculosis infections, because usually we vaccinate these kids.
Yeah.
In the 1800s, however, germ theory was only just beginning to gain supporters among the medical community. Doctors were still arguing over the causes of tuberculosis in 1895, and treatment mainly consisted of leaving large cities like New York and Boston, where the disease was running rampant, for places like Pasadena, California, or Colorado Springs, where the climate was supposed to help to ease the symptoms because it was drier.
Right, and then maybe it's not as populated. You know, you got to think about that too. Like where there's a condensed amount of people, it's gonna, just like with COVID.
Yeah.
New York and COVID. Remember that? I mean, God, I can't believe that people forgotten. You know, remember the bodies just piled up in the street.
Oh my God!
I mean, you know,
in those tractor trailer, like the oh my God, girl.
You know,
it's so
and they want to deny all this stuff.
Oh, so fucking dumb.
Oh my God,
I can't argue with stupid. I can't do it.
No,
I can't do it. Anyway, so I'm watching Big Love, and that Bill Henriksen, who's the father, what a prick.
Oh, he's a jerk.
Watching them one episode after the other, I didn't remember him. I remember like they were all happy or whatever, but he's just doing whatever the fuck he wants. And I don't mean like fucking all these wives. I mean like business-wise, decisions for the family. He's just doing whatever he wants. He's a piece of shit.
He's very selfish.
And the Barb, the first wife, is trying to keep him like fucking, you can't do this, you can't do that.
I can't believe Barb even went along with this the whole time.
I know.
Ugh. I couldn't stand, I mean, I love the actor. But I
I love Bill Paxton.
I could not
stand.
Oh
God, what a shame. What a fucking shame.
I'm watching Breaking Bad. Yeah. And I watched, I think I said this before, I watched the first season, I think, and then one of my kids was born or whatever. So now I'm on the end of, I'm heading into the final season. Yeah. And this show is so good.
I know. And by the way, Jesse, who's on Breaking Bad, he's on Big Love. He's on season 2. He becomes like boyfriends with Sarah, who's what's his oldest daughter. He looks a little different. It looks like probably right around the time he probably started working on Breaking Bad.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't remember that at all. But he, I don't know why, because I only remember the first season that I thought that they were like, you know, close.
Yeah, they started.
The whole show, they're so contentious. It's like both of them. Like he's such a hothead. Yeah, he is such a hothead. And Walt is such a jerk.
I mean, I don't think Jesse wanted anything to do with this, if I'm correct, right? Like, he was like, get me the fuck out of this.
But then he wanted to, and then he was going to go on his own, and then Walt, it's his ego caused problem after problem after problem.
That's the big Bill Paxton, the same thing. Oh my
God. And I'm watching this season with the Gus. It's like the death of Gus.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That guy is good. That actor... who played that Gus guy was so good. He's Italiano, that guy.
Yeah, he's great in everything he does. Giancarlo, right? Michael Giancarlo, Yeah, he's so good.
So good.
Can we talk about, I think the last episode of The Righteous Gemstones was on Sunday.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet.
Okay. God.
Sorry, I'm behind.
It's so good. It's so good. I love that. And Uncle Baby Billy comes back. He's in the last couple episodes. He's so fucking funny. And the whole time I'm like, why hasn't he been here the whole time? I love him. I fucking love him.
He's just so funny.
Did you see the episode from the Sunday before where Judy's, Judy had an affair?
Yeah.
Where her husband goes to the guy's house?
Yes.
The fight scene?
Yes. I was like, what?
So much dick in that scene. That actor was running around with his dick out the whole time.
Yeah, it was so funny.
Fucking funny.
But he got his ass kicked. It was so funny.
Fucking funny.
Oh, God.
Oh, yeah, so you haven't seen it. Fuck, there was one scene in this last episode I wanted to talk about.
I'm going to watch it. I'll watch it.
Please, I really want to talk about it.
Because I'm almost done with Sopranos. The rewatch.
Oh my God.
It's one good thing after next with that, and then I'm actually Breaking Bad with the other one.
Yeah. So one good thing after the next. Oh my God.
I love that show so much. I don't know. I could keep watching it forever. It makes me laugh.
Here's the thing. At least we got good TV.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, at least there's that. I get so lost in it that I forget.
Yeah.
I need that. I can't. It's too much for me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, thank God. And I don't really have regular cable, so I just watch like streaming stuff. And some of these shows, the writers are brilliant.
Oh my God.
You need to pay people.
They're asking for 2%.
I mean,
they're asking for 2% of like what? This is insane. I don't get it. And how do you not value the people who are doing the work?
They're the ones like. making the show happen.
It's wild to me.
And when, I know I always talk about it's been a while, but on Talking Sopranos, the one thing that was really interesting to me is they brought on writers and they brought on casting directors and they brought on the people that did the wardrobe. And when you hear about how they would do the screen readings or like how they came up with ideas for the script and like, all the little nuance, it's so interesting. And these people are brilliant people. They're brilliant. So, I don't know. And like the things they carry through, like I was watching, watching Sopranos and I'm like, oh, there's sayings, the poor you, like different characters saying it. And I'm like, oh, I'd love to trace that. And then like other things, I'm like, wow, that's always repeated. Like when you watch it a lot of times, you're like, oh, here's this thing being repeated. And I'm like, I need to go back to school and like, do my dissertation on the Sopranos.
Oh, I'm sure you could do that right now.
Wouldn't that be amazing?
That would be amazing.
All right, who's going to pay for grad school? Hey.
It's always about money.
I know, shit.
That's all she wants is money.
Damn it. I'm going to go back to school, not have to work.
Oh my God, I bought lottery tickets. I wanted to win Mega Millions last week. I wanted to win so badly.
I bought lotto tickets too.
There's a drawing tonight, right?
Yeah.
I got to get tickets on our way out of here. Oh, we're going to karaoke.
It's been a while.
I know, I'm excited.
It's going to be fun.
And I like the place that we're going to.
Yeah, we haven't been there in a while.
Yeah, it's a different place.
It'll be good.
Yeah.
It'll just be nice to hang out.
Oh, honestly. That's all I said. Like, a lot of people weren't able to go, and I was like, can we just have a drink because I have to do something.
Yes. All right.
I guess that's it.
That's it.
Dr. Vinnie Boombatz. You know my doctor, Dr. Vinnie Boombatz.
That's the best. My God.
His doctor gave the worst advice. He was like the worst doctor. Oh, I gotta get a new doctor. You know my doctor. Come on, is there anything better than Rodney Dangerfield? Here's the thing. That's a comic that like I grew up with, right? And then you hear stories now. Yeah, but you even hear stories now where like backstage he would sit in a robe completely naked with his legs open, his balls hanging out, and there's female comedians like and he wouldn't give a fuck, and it's like so fucking upsetting, but also who gives a I can't.
I just remember
I can't.
I just remember back to school when the teacher's reading the poetry and he's like cleaning out his face.
What about
and then he's diving off the diving.
Yeah. What about when he dives and there's like no splash?
Yeah. It's so funny.
It's so stupid. It's so great when the sun comes back.
The sun is so annoying.
And there's a hot tub in the pool. Wasn't wasn't Robert Downey Jr. in that movie? It was his son's friend.
Yeah, with the beret.
Yeah.
He's got the beret. And Sam Kinison.
Yes.
Sam Kinison's in there. Oh my God.
He's telling U.S. history. I was there. I was there. I saw my buddies die face down in the muck.
Oh, it's so good.
Oh God, give me life. Give me fucking life. I would do anything to be able to stand on a stage and make people laugh like that. That is so much power to me, I feel like. I feel like that'd be so good.
It's the timing, it's all the stuff.
Oh my God. It's the best.
So good.
All right, well, let's get out of here.
Bye. Bye.